Welcome to Let's Talk Test, Cycles and Being Shut Down. This video will go into detail describing what a steroid cycle actually is and why this technique is used, but also builds upon the things we learned in Hormones 101 to understand why supplementing steroids can inhibit or outright stop your natural production. So, steroid cycles, they refer to a periodic dosing schedule used to maximize benefits and minimize the risks. Cycles refer to both the duration of the cycle and also the recovery time between cycles. Before we examine the different factors, we need to explain how steroids impact your body's natural hormone production. So when we discussed the HPTA back in Hormones 101, you learned that your hormones, the hormones your testes make are released into your bloodstream and that your brain, specifically the hypothalamus and pituitary gland, detect these levels to regulate them. When you use steroids, your brain detects these highly elevated levels of androgens and goes into a scramble trying to bring them back into a healthy range. Since the hypothalamus can't stop you from using steroids in the first place, all it can do is cease production. As a matter of fact, your testes will eventually shut down completely, leading to the infamous small testicle side effect that steroid users are known for. At this point, the only androgens in your blood are the ones that you put there, and at the typical recreational dose, this means in excess of 5 to 10 times the healthy levels. This shutdown occurs anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks into a cycle, and please note how wide of a range that is. If you originally planned for a 10-week cycle and you shut down at week 4, you need to be able to notice and be willing to make adjustments. So if you've been paying attention, you might ask why shutting down is such a problem when you've already supplementing the most important ingredient. And the reason is because the testes, once they stop production of testosterone, they end up stopping production of everything, including estradiol, aromatase, and a variety of other hormones and enzymes the body needs for proper functioning. Now, this is only the most obvious repercussion of being shut down, as there is little research into the effects of your hypothalamus no longer signaling and your pituitary gland no longer dispatching. But given how complex and interrelated these systems are to your body, it's a good reason to guess that there are side effects. Anecdotally, men who shut down will report a general feeling of lethargy, fatigue, and even anhedonia, which is a dulled sense of pleasure. In short, being shut down is something you want to avoid and one of the main reasons that cycles have limited durations. Another key component to cycle duration is effectiveness versus side effect accumulation. Even high doses of testosterone take 2 to 3 weeks to fully implement the changes in the body that are beneficial for muscle growth. At the same time, the risk factors for high testosterone doses also start to take effect, primarily in the form of a gradual shutdown or building resistance, but also cardiovascular and kidney stress. It's essentially a race where you are trying to squeeze out the most muscle growth possible before the side effects become symptomatic. Most of the explosive growth of a cycle is in that sweet spot that starts about 2 to 3 weeks in and lasts until you either shut down or become unresponsive. To elaborate on that, like anything else in the body, too much of something is never good. When your blood is swimming in testosterone, the body's receptors become increasingly less sensitive to its presence, eventually starting to actively ignore it. This receptivity varies wildly from person to person and is the reason why only some guys just get massive when they juice. All in all, these factors create an upper limit of a cycle at 10 to 12 weeks. Cycles also refer to the time between them as the body needs time to recover from the effects. It's been said that you should recover 2 months for every 1 month on cycle. Here at Let's Talk Test, we believe this to be a conservative estimate. Perhaps the ideal user can accomplish this, but the average user is going to need at least 9 months to a year between cycles to adequately recover. Some users take a different approach and just never come off the cycle, instead varying the dose between short bouts of recreational levels and longer phases of therapeutic amounts. This is known as a blast and cruise, and it's essentially a lifelong commitment because once you spend several years doing this, your own HTPA will never recover, and you may never make sufficient testosterone again. If you're curious to learn more about blast and cruising and other long-term steroid cycles, check out our advanced section. It may be frustrating to some viewers that we have not just given you a precise time frame and cycle duration and length, but the key point to take away is that there is no universal cycle length that works best for everybody. It is vital to listen and respond to your body as it goes through a cycle and recovery so that you can feel out what duration and frequency is best for you. Next, we are going to look at actually doing a cycle and discuss the various things you're going to run into so that you can keep your gains and your health. Visit letstalktest.com to explore these and other topics.